My fiance gave me an ultimatum. Pay me X $18,000 or don't show up to the altar. So I did this instead. Now she is begging me to come back. Hey Reddit, 4 days before my wedding, my fiance asked me to wire 18 grand to solve a problem that wasn't mine. When I said no, she didn't take it well. Neither did I. I, 34 male, work in logistics for a mid-sized shipping company. Make decent money. Not rich, but comfortable enough to own a house in the suburbs and not stress about bills. Never been married. Came close once in my 20s, but dodged that bullet when I caught her texting her ex about how I was just stable enough until something better came along. Met Brianna 2 years ago at a mutual friend's party. She was 31, recently divorced, single mom to a 9-year-old daughter named Mia. Told me her ex was a deadbeat who never paid child support and left her struggling to make ends meet. She worked retail management, supposedly, though her hours were always weird and she missed shifts constantly for reasons that never quite added up. I fell for it. The whole struggling single mom thing. Thought I was being the good guy, the hero. Started covering expenses here and there. Rent when she came up short. Bills when she forgot to pay them. Private school tuition because public school supposedly wasn't good enough. Within 6 months, she'd moved into my place. Within a year, I'd proposed. Looking back, I'm not sure she ever actually loved me or just loved the fact that I had money and didn't ask too many questions. Should have known better. But you don't always see the red flags when you're the one holding them up. Wednesday night. I'm in my living room going over vendor confirmations for Saturday's wedding. Boring stuff. The kind of details that make you question why weddings cost more than a decent used car. Brianna's upstairs giving Mia a bath, or so I thought. House is quiet. Everything's normal. Then she comes down the stairs calm, almost rehearsed. Like she'd practiced this. That expression people get when they're about to pitch something they know is insane, but they've convinced themselves you'll accept it because you love them, or whatever justification they've got running through their head. She stands in the middle of my living room, doesn't sit, just crosses her arms and looks at me expectantly. Garrett's got a support thing. If he doesn't pay by Friday, he's in trouble. Can you wire it? Not a question. A statement. Like she was telling me to take out the trash. I looked up from my phone, stared at her for a solid 10 seconds waiting for the punchline. When it didn't come, I said, "Run that by me again." She rolled her eyes. Actually rolled her eyes at me in my own house. Garrett, child support arrears. Court date Monday. If he doesn't pay, he gets locked up for contempt. Since you're about to be Mia's stepdad and we're becoming a family unit, we need to handle this. Together. I set my phone down real slow. That thing your brain does when it's trying to process information that makes zero sense? That was happening. Hard. You want me to pay your ex-boyfriend's child support debt. The money he owes to you. For your kid. His kid. It's not for him. She walked closer, putting on that voice she used when she wanted something expensive. Think about it logically. If he gets locked up, everything gets messy for Mia. Courts, pickups, drama. I don't want that on our first week married. It's cleaner this way. She smiled like she'd just solved world hunger. It's an investment in our future. My brain lagged. I actually laughed once. Like it was a joke. It wasn't. For about 5 seconds, I just sat there processing what she'd actually just said to me. So to prove I love you, I need to bail out the guy who cheated on you during your entire relationship. The same guy you've called a deadbeat, a narcissist, and a pathetic excuse for a father about 400 times since I've known you. It's part of being a provider, Landon. Her voice went cold. The act was over. That's literally what men do. You fix problems. You take care of family issues. That's the deal you signed up for. She wasn't asking anymore. She was telling me. So are you wiring the money? Or do I need to start calling vendors and canceling everything? Your call. Clock's ticking. I looked at her standing there in my living room, in the house I bought, that she'd been living in rent-free for 18 months while contributing exactly nothing except attitude and credit card bills. Something clicked in my head. 2 years of this. 2 years of being her personal ATM. I'd covered her rent 6 times before she moved in with me, paid off $9,000 in credit card debt from before we even met, dropped 12 grand on private school for a kid that wasn't mine because public school wasn't good enough for little Mia, covered car payments, phone bills, emergency expenses that were never actually emergencies, bought her a $4,000 engagement ring that she picked out herself and then complained wasn't big enough. The engagement ring alone had taken 2 months of overtime. And now she was standing here demanding I pay her ex's child support because that was my job as a man. You know what? I said. I don't think so. Her face went blank, like I'd just spoken a language she didn't understand. Excuse me? I said no. If Garrett owes money, Garrett can figure it out. Or you can. But I'm not writing that check. Not today, not ever. I pulled out my phone and started scrolling through my contacts. What are you doing? Her voice went up 3 octaves. Panic mode activated. Calling the venue. Don't you dare. She stepped toward me, reaching for the phone. I moved it out of her reach. Landon, we have people flying in from 6 states. My whole family bought plane tickets. You'll embarrass yourself. You'll humiliate me. Everyone will think you're insane. Watch. The phone rang twice before someone picked up. Stone Ridge Events, how may I help you? Yeah, hi, Landon. I need to cancel the wedding scheduled for Saturday. All of it. Ceremony, reception, everything. Dead silence on both ends. Brianna's face went white. Sir, I need to confirm. You're canceling the wedding? That's correct. Send me the cancellation confirmation by email. I understand the deposits are non-refundable. Are you absolutely certain about this decision? Completely certain. Thanks for your time. I hung up. Brianna stood there making these weird choking sounds like she couldn't get enough air. For about 3 seconds, she couldn't form words. Then she found them. You psychotic jerk. Her voice was barely above a whisper at first. Then it started climbing. You actually did it. Over 18 grand? You make that in 2 weeks. You just threw away 2 years over what's basically pocket change to you? No, we're done. Get your stuff and go. I live here. Now she was screaming. Full volume. You can't just kick me out. I have rights. I'll call the cops right now. She grabbed a decorative bowl off the side table. Some ceramic thing her mother gave us as an early wedding gift. Probably cost $200. She spiked it on the hardwood like she was in the end zone. It exploded into about 50 pieces. I have rights. You're not on the deed. You're not on the mortgage. You haven't paid a single bill in 6 months. Legally, you're a guest who's overstayed their welcome. My hands wouldn't stay still. I checked my watch. You've got 30 minutes to pack and leave. Mia is upstairs sleeping. You want to traumatize an 11-year-old? You want that on your conscience? Mia's at your mom's place. Has been since yesterday afternoon. You dropped her off so you could get your nails done and go shopping, remember? I tilted my head. Don't use your kid as a human shield. Makes you look even worse than you already do. That broke something in her. The anger cracked and I saw real panic underneath. The tears started. Not real tears. Tactical tears. The kind she'd weaponized about 100 times when she wanted something and I wasn't moving fast enough. She dropped to her knees right there in the broken ceramic. Didn't even flinch when the sharp pieces cut into her skin. Baby, please. I'm stressed. The wedding planning. The family drama. Garrett's garbage. I didn't mean it like that. I just need him handled so we can be happy together. Please. I love you. Don't do this. I looked down at her. At this person I'd been planning to marry in 4 days. This stranger kneeling in broken ceramic and crocodile tears. 28 minutes. She spent the next 27 minutes cycling through every manipulation tactic in the book. Crying, screaming, threatening, begging, back to screaming. It was almost impressive how predictable the pattern was. She was going to tell everyone I hit her. She was going to post about me on every social media platform and ruin my reputation. She was going to make sure I never saw Mia again, even though I had 0 legal rights to the kid anyway. She was going to sue me for emotional distress and take everything I owned. She was going to call my boss and tell him I was abusive. On and on. I sat on my couch and watched her throw clothes into trash bags while she cursed out my entire bloodline. Didn't respond, didn't react, just waited. You think you're so smart? She was stuffing shoes into a garbage bag with enough force to probably damage half of them. You think you can just use me and throw me away? I gave you 2 years of my life. You gave me 2 years of expenses. That's what you gave. That's what providers do. That's what men are supposed to do. You don't get to act like I'm some kind of burden. You're right. I was supposed to provide. For my partner. Not for a dependent adult with the spending habits of a lottery winner and the gratitude of a spoiled teenager. At exactly the 30-minute mark, she was standing at my front door with 4 trash bags and a look that could have melted steel. This isn't over. You don't just get to throw me out and move on with your life. I'm not done with you. Yeah, you are. Goodbye, Brianna. The door slammed hard enough to rattle the picture frames on the wall. I locked the deadbolt, then the chain, then dragged a chair from the kitchen and wedged it under the door handle. Probably paranoid. Didn't care. My phone started ringing before I even made it back to the couch. Unknown number, local area code. Against my better judgment, I answered. Yeah. Have you lost your mind? Kelsey, Brianna's sister, already screaming. No buildup, just straight to maximum volume. Brianna just called me sobbing. She can barely breathe. She says you hit her and threw her out in the middle of the night like she's garbage. She's lying. Just like she lied about needing money for Mia's soccer equipment when the league provides it free. Just like she lied about her car needing $1,500 in repairs when it was actually $400. Just like she lied about literally everything for the past 2 years. She's on the street, Landon. You can't just evict your fiancée because she asked for help. She didn't ask for help. She gave me an ultimatum. Pay her deadbeat ex's child support or the wedding's off. That's not asking for help. That's extortion. She's trying to keep Mia's father out of jail. She's thinking about her daughter. Then Garrett can pay his own child support. That's literally the definition of child support. Or maybe you can write the check, Kelsey. Your husband's a surgeon. He makes triple what I do. If it's such a reasonable family expense, you cover it. Silence. The kind of silence you get when someone's own logic gets thrown back in their face and they don't have a comeback. That's different, she finally said. How? Explain to me how that's different. Because from where I'm sitting, it sounds like you want me to solve a problem you wouldn't touch with your own money if someone paid you. You're going to regret this. My sister deserves better than you. She's welcome to go find it. I hung up, blocked her number, then Brianna's number, then her mother's number, then her aunt's number, because that woman had spent 2 years making passive-aggressive comments about how Brianna settled for me, and I was done pretending not to notice. The house was quiet, actually quiet. No demanding voice asking for money. No kid yelling about homework. No dramatic sighs when I said no to something. For the first time in 2 years, the silence was free. Thursday morning hit different. I woke up in an empty house, made coffee without someone complaining about the brand I bought, and drove to work in complete silence, instead of listening to Brianna list all the things she needed money for that week. I was at my desk by 7:30, trying to focus on inventory reports that needed to be finished by Friday. Numbers on spreadsheets. Supply chain logistics. Normal work stuff that usually keeps my brain occupied. Around 10:40, my desk phone rang. Reception. She sounded terrified. Mr. Landon? There's a woman in the lobby. She's screaming. Security is trying to contain her, but she just jumped the turnstile. She says she's your fiancé. She's coming up right now. My stomach dropped. Call the cops. Already did, sir. 15 seconds later, my office door exploded inward. The handle smashed into the wall hard enough to leave a dent. Brianna came in like a hurricane. Hair wild and unbrushed. Makeup from yesterday smeared down her face. Same clothes from last night, wrinkled and stained. Behind her, 2 security guards were hustling to catch up, but she'd gotten enough of a head start to make this as dramatic as possible. The entire floor went silent. Every head in every cubicle turned to watch the show. Some people were already filming. 3 cubicles down, Rick was already texting me. Security says she bit one of them in the elevator. I didn't respond. Couldn't take my eyes off the disaster unfolding. You canceled the cards? She screamed it loud enough for everyone to hear. I tried to buy gas this morning and it declined. At the pump. In front of everyone. How dare you embarrass me like that? I stood up. Didn't raise my voice. Didn't move toward her. You need to leave. Right now. I need money. My sister won't take me in. My mom's apartment is too small. And you threw me out with nowhere to go. Her voice cracked. Not from emotion. From rage. After everything I did for you, you owe me. I owe you nothing. Security, get her out. One of the guards, a big guy, stepped forward and grabbed her arm. Professional but firm. Ma'am, you need to come with us. She spun around and spit in his face. Full on hawked a loogie right at him. The office gasped. Phones were definitely recording now. This was going to be the talk of the company for months. Someone from accounting actually gasped out loud. Janet, the same woman who'd RSVP'd to the wedding with a +1. Don't touch me! I'll sue this entire building! Then she turned back to me and dropped what she clearly thought was her nuclear option. I'm pregnant, Landon. Said it loud enough for the back row to hear. You hear me? I'm pregnant with your baby. You don't get to cut me off. I'm carrying your child. The whole floor froze. I could see my coworkers in my peripheral vision, mouths hanging open, probably already mentally drafting the group chat messages. I looked at her, let the moment breathe, made sure everyone was paying attention. I had a vasectomy 4 years ago, Brianna. Way before we met. Got it done after my ex tried to baby trap me the first time. I paused for effect, smiled just a little. So if you're pregnant, which I seriously doubt, it's definitely not mine. Maybe you should ask Garrett. Seems like you two have been closer than you let on. Her face went from red to white in about 2 seconds. You're lying. You would have told me. Why? You said you were done having kids. It never came up. I nodded to security. Get her out of my building. Now. They weren't gentle this time. The guard had lost any sympathy he might have had after getting spit on. They grabbed her arms and started dragging her toward the elevator. She kicked. She screamed. She made threats about lawsuits and police reports. The elevator doors closed on her, still screaming something about me being a narcissist. The office slowly returned to normal. People pretending they weren't just watching the most dramatic scene in company history. I closed my office door, sat down. My hands were shaking. Not from fear, from pure adrenaline. My phone buzzed. Text notification from my bank. Fraud alert. Attempted wire transfer of $18,750 from checking account ending in 6394 to external account. Transaction blocked due to security hold. Please contact us immediately to verify. She'd tried to steal the money herself. Probably right before storming into my office. Must have gotten my banking passwords from watching me log in over the past 2 years. I called the bank, reported the fraud, had them lock down everything, changed every password, every security question, every recovery option. Then I called my lawyer and told him we had a problem. Document everything, he said. Every text, every email, every interaction. She's going to escalate. They always do when the money supply gets cut off. I was starting to see that. That night, I was home eating leftover pizza, standing over the sink like the suddenly single man I was, when my doorbell rang. I checked the security camera feed on my phone. Beat up GMC Sierra in my driveway. Engine sounded like it was held together with duct tape and prayer. Guy getting out looked exhausted. Big dude, probably 6'2", wearing work clothes covered in drywall dust. Garrett, the deadbeat. The child support dodger. The guy I was supposedly meant to save from jail. I grabbed the baseball bat I'd started keeping by the door and answered with the chain still on. Yeah? Landon? He looked at me through the gap, eyes bloodshot and tired. I'm Garrett, Mia's dad. I think we need to talk. If you're here for money, I'm calling the cops right now. He actually laughed, not a happy laugh, a bitter, exhausted laugh. Man, what money? Can you open the door? I'm not here to fight. Just worked a 14-hour shift and drove an hour to get here because I needed to see this for myself. Something in his voice. Something in how genuinely tired he looked. I opened the door, kept the bat in hand just in case. See what for yourself? Garrett stayed on the porch, kept his distance. Hands where I could see them. Look, I don't know what Brianna told you about child support arrears, but it's complete garbage. We have joint custody. 50-50. I pay her $300 a month to cover Mia's health insurance through my union. That's it. That's the whole arrangement. I'm not behind. There's no court date Monday. I'm not going to jail. My grip on the bat got tighter. She said you owed 18 grand in arrears. Said you'd be locked up for contempt. She's lying. He shook his head slow, like he was too tired to even be angry about it anymore. She's been lying about me since the divorce. Landon, she's got a gambling problem. A serious one. Online poker, sports betting, those sketchy casino apps. That's why we split. She drained my savings account back in 2020. Ran up 31 grand in credit card debt without telling me. I had to file bankruptcy just to survive. He pulled up the custody agreement on his phone, showed me the court stamps, the signatures, then the payment app history. $300, same day every month going back 3 years. Not a single missed payment. She had access to everything, he said. Joint accounts, credit cards. Didn't know about the debt until collectors started calling. Found out she'd been playing online poker for 2 years. The ground shifted under my feet. Suddenly everything made sense. The constant emergencies. The perpetual lack of money, despite me paying for literally everything. The times she needed a few hundred for something she could never quite explain. She told me you were a deadbeat, that you abandoned her and Mia, that you never paid child support, and she told me you were beating her. Garrett's voice was flat. No surprise in it. Called me about 3 hours ago, hysterical. Said you broke her ribs and threw her down the stairs. Wanted to crash at my place while she figured things out? He looked me up and down. Seeing you standing here calm and not in handcuffs, I'm guessing the assault story is about as real as the child support arrears. I never laid a hand on her, not once. Figured as much. She pulled the same garbage when we were together. Whenever she doesn't get what she wants, suddenly someone hurt her. Everyone's the villain except her. I leaned against the doorframe, processing everything. Why are you telling me this? Because I've got an 11-year-old daughter with this woman, and I'm tired of watching her destroy everyone around her. He pulled out his phone. Look, I can send you the custody agreement. Payment records, bank statements, whatever you need to see, I'm telling the truth. Yeah, do that. Just keep her away from me. I've got my own life now. New girlfriend who's actually stable, trying to keep things normal for Mia. He turned to head back to his truck, then stopped. Garrett, I called out. Heads up. She's desperate right now. I cut off her access to money and she tried to rob my bank account this morning. 18 grand. He nodded slow. Yeah, that sounds about right. Good luck, man. You're gonna need it. The truck pulled away, belching smoke from the exhaust. I went back inside, locked everything, and called my lawyer again. This is worse than I thought, I told him. She's got a gambling problem. That's what all of this is about. She needs money for debts. That makes sense, he said. Desperate people do desperate things. Be ready. She's not done yet. I was starting to get that impression. Friday night, the night before my wedding was supposed to happen. Instead of being at a rehearsal dinner, I was sitting alone in my living room at midnight, watching security camera feeds on my phone. I'd spent the day getting my defenses in order, printed every bank statement, saved every text message, downloaded every security camera recording to a backup drive, called the venue again to make absolutely sure the cancellation went through, emailed my family with a vague explanation about why the wedding was off. At 12:17 a.m., the motion sensor on my back patio triggered. I looked at the phone screen. My blood went cold. Brianna was in my backyard, swaying on her feet, clearly intoxicated. Hair was a disaster, clothes torn and dirty, and she was holding a brick. She wound up like a pitcher and launched it straight through my sliding glass door. The crash was massive. Glass exploded inward, scattering across my kitchen floor like 1,000 tiny knives. I was already dialing 911 before the second brick came through my living room window. 911, what's your emergency? Home invasion, breaking and entering. Woman just smashed through my back door. I gave the address. She's inside the house now. I'm upstairs. She may be armed. Stay where you are, sir. Officers are en route. I grabbed the bat and moved to the hallway. Below me, I could hear her stumbling through the broken glass, cursing my name. I heard her grab something metal from the kitchen. Sounded like the knife block hitting the counter. My grip on the bat tightened. Landon, where are you hiding, you coward? It didn't sound human. Didn't sound like the woman I'd proposed to a year ago. It sounded feral. I called the cops. Brianna, get out of my house. You ruined everything. Something heavy crashed downstairs. Sounded like my TV. $600 down the drain. Glass crunched under her feet as she moved through my house. I could hear her knocking things over. Picture frames. The bookshelf. She was destroying everything she could reach. You think you can just leave me with nothing? She was at the base of the stairs now. I have debts, Landon. Real debts. To real people. They're going to hurt me if I don't pay. That's not my problem. She appeared at the bottom of the stairs. Eyes wild. Makeup streaked. Bleeding from her hands where she'd cut herself on the broken glass. She was holding my laptop. A $1,200 laptop. She threw it at my head. I ducked. It sailed past me and smashed into the wall, shattering into pieces. You owe me! She screamed, charging up the stairs. I backed into the hallway. She lunged at me, clawing at my face. Nails caught my cheek and neck, drawing blood. I shoved her back. Not hard, just enough to create distance. Self-defense. She stumbled backward, hit the railing, then caught herself, and then she smiled. This horrible, twisted smile that didn't reach her eyes. You pushed me, she said, voice suddenly calculated. You just assaulted me. Now I have you. Now I can take everything. I pointed at the corner of the ceiling, at the small black dome camera that had been there for 8 months. See that? She followed my finger. The smile died instantly. Motion-activated cameras. Every room in this house, audio and video, cloud backup, they've been recording since you stepped on my property 15 minutes ago. I took a step toward her. Every word, every action, every threat, everything. The color drained from her face like someone pulled a plug. Red and blue lights flashed through the windows. Police! Everyone on the ground! Hands where we can see them! 2 cops came through the front door fast, weapons drawn. They saw the destruction. The broken glass, the bleeding woman, the scratched man with a baseball bat. One of the cops recognized the situation immediately. Domestic call, destruction visible, woman bleeding, man holding a bat. I could see him sizing up the scene, trying to figure out who the aggressor was. The security footage made that real clear, real fast. He attacked me! Brianna shrieked immediately. Look at my hands. He threw me through the window. He's been holding me hostage for hours. Ma'am, get on the ground. Hands behind your head. Now. Why are you pointing guns at me? He's the criminal. He attacked me. Arrest him. Ma'am. Last warning. On the ground. She didn't listen. Of course she didn't. She charged the officers, arms flailing, still screaming about how I was an abuser, and they were making a horrible mistake. The taser hit her center mass. She went down hard, body locking up, hitting the floor like a dropped bag of concrete. The next 3 hours were chaos. Paramedics, more cops arriving, crime scene techs photographing everything, EMTs checking out the scratches on my face and neck, detective taking my statement. I showed them the security footage on my phone, the brick through the door, her climbing inside, the threats, the laptop projectile, the attack, me defending myself. One of the officers, a sergeant with gray hair, watched the footage twice without saying anything. You're lucky you had this, he finally said. Without these cameras, this would have been a coin flip on who gets arrested. I know. She's looking at serious charges: breaking and entering, criminal mischief, assault, destruction of property. With the prior complaints and the attempted bank fraud, she's going away for a while. Good. The sergeant studied me for a second. You doing okay? Been better. Been worse. By the time everyone left, it was almost 5 in the morning. I sat in my destroyed living room, surrounded by broken glass, shattered electronics, and upended furniture. I ordered pizza, ate it cold at 6 a.m., while boarding up the broken windows with plywood from my garage. Heck of a rehearsal dinner. 2 days after the arrest, my phone rang at 11 at night. FaceTime. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity got the better of me. Brianna's face filled the screen. She was in what looked like a hotel room. Cheap one. The kind where the bedspreads have cigarette burns and you don't want to use the remote. Makeup running down her face. Eyes puffy and red. Hair unwashed and pulled back in a messy knot. Landon, please. Just listen to me for 1 minute. I propped the phone against a water bottle and went back to eating my sandwich. Didn't say anything. Just chewed and watched her spiral. I know I messed up. I know I hurt you. But baby, I'm literally homeless right now. My mom won't take me. Kelsey blocked my number. I'm staying at a Motel 6 that charges by the week, and I can't afford next week's rent. Her voice cracked. Full waterworks now. I have nowhere to go. No money. No options. You're the only person who ever actually cared about me. I took another bite of my sandwich. Turkey and Swiss. Pretty solid sandwich, honestly. Please say something. Anything. I'm begging you. I'll do anything. I'll pay you back every cent. I'll get help for the gambling. I'll go to therapy. I'll sign a prenup. Whatever you want. Just please don't abandon me like this. I swallowed, wiped my mouth with a napkin, finally looked at the screen. You done? She nodded desperately. Yes, I'm done. I'm listening. Just tell me what I need to do to fix this. Brianna, you called me your personal ATM for 2 years. You tried to make me pay your ex's fake child support. You gave me an ultimatum 4 days before our wedding. You tried to steal 18 grand from my bank account. You broke into my house, destroyed my property, and tried to frame me for assault. I picked up the phone, brought her face closer. And now you're homeless in a Motel 6 calling me at 11 at night, asking what you need to do to fix this? I'm desperate, Landon. Here's what you need to do. Get a job. Pay your debts. Stop gambling. Go to therapy. Build a life that doesn't require bleeding other people dry. I smiled. Not a nice smile. And do it without me. Because I'm not your bank. I'm not your backup plan. And I'm definitely not your emergency contact anymore. Please don't do this. I hung up. Blocked the number. Finished my sandwich in peace. The next stretch of time was a war of attrition. Brianna didn't go quietly. She fought every single charge. Hired a lawyer she couldn't afford with money. I'm pretty sure she borrowed from loan sharks. Filed for a restraining order against me, claiming I was stalking and harassing her. It got denied fast. Once they saw my security footage, I got a restraining order against her. That one stuck. She violated it 3 times in the first month. Showed up at my work again. Showed up at my house at 2 in the morning. Screaming in the driveway. Sent me 47 text messages from different numbers threatening to ruin my life. The 3rd violation was the worst. She'd shown up at my work again, this time in the parking garage. Waited by my car for 2 hours. Security finally noticed her on camera, just sitting there, staring at nothing. They called the cops before I even left the building. Each violation added more charges, more evidence, more time to her eventual sentence. Each time the cops showed up at her door, she'd apparently have some excuse ready. Wrong address. Didn't know I worked there anymore. Just wanted to apologize. The excuses got weaker each time. Court was a disaster for her. The prosecutor had my security footage, the bank fraud evidence, the text messages, the testimony from my coworkers about the office incident, the testimony from Garrett about her pattern of lying and manipulation, the testimony from her own mother about the gambling problem. The prosecutor played my security footage on a big screen TV. The whole courtroom watched her throw bricks through my windows, watched her scream threats while stumbling through broken glass, watched her charge up my stairs with murder in her eyes. Brianna's own attorney winced. They brought in her phone records, text messages to 3 different loan shark numbers in the week before the wedding, betting app transactions totaling over 40 grand in the past year. She'd been hemorrhaging money faster than I could give it to her. Her lawyer tried to paint me as a controlling abuser who drove her to a breakdown, tried to claim the security footage was doctored, tried to argue she was mentally unstable and not responsible for her action. None of it worked. The evidence was too clear, too documented. The judge wasn't sympathetic. She'd seen too many cases like this, heard too many manipulation tactics, guilty on all counts. 18 months locked up. 3 years probation after release. Mandatory gambling addiction treatment. Restraining order extended to 5 years. Restitution for all damages to my property, just over 11 grand. I sat in that courtroom and watched her face as the sentence came down. Watched the reality hit her that she'd actually lost, that the manipulation didn't work this time, that she was actually going to jail. She looked at me from across the courtroom, not with anger, with genuine confusion, like she couldn't understand how this had happened, how the person she'd been bleeding dry for 2 years had actually stood up and fought back. I didn't smile, didn't gloat, just stood up and walked out. Outside the courthouse, Garrett was waiting. We'd become something like friends over the past few months. Trauma bonding, I guess. How'd it go? He asked. 18 months, plus probation, plus restitution. He whistled low. Dang, that's solid. Yeah, it's done. We walked to the parking lot together. Two guys who'd been chewed up and spit out by the same person, trying to figure out what came next. You doing okay? Garrett asked. Getting there. House is fixed. Bank account's recovering. Got my life back. That's good, man. That's real good. Mia was in Garrett's truck, playing on a tablet. She saw me and waved. I waved back. Sweet kid. Deserved better than the mess her mother left behind. She asks about you sometimes, Garrett said. Mia. She misses you. Yeah, I miss her too. But it's better this way? Clean break. Probably right. He unlocked his truck. You take care of yourself, Landon. You earned it. You too, man. I drove home to my quiet house. My empty house. My house that didn't have broken glass or screaming or demands for money. I ordered takeout. Watched a game. Went to bed at a reasonable hour. For the first time in 2 years, I slept through the night without waking up to check my bank account. 6 months later, my phone buzzed with a notification from the county correction system. Subject line, offender release notice. Brianna had been let out early. Good behavior. 3 months shaved off for playing nice and attending the mandatory treatment programs. The restraining order was still active. 5 years. She wasn't allowed within 100 yards of me, my house, or my workplace. Violation meant going right back inside. I deleted the notification and went back to my coffee. 2 days later, I was leaving the gym when I spotted her across the parking lot. Hair shorter, no makeup, wearing a fast food uniform. She was getting into a beat-up sedan that looked like it had seen better days. She saw me, froze for a second. I could see her calculating whether to approach, whether to try one more time to explain or apologize or whatever story she'd convinced herself would work. I pulled out my phone, made it obvious I was ready to dial. She got in her car, drove away without looking back. Smart move. Guys, we are so close to hit 100,000 subscribers on this channel. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. It really helps hit that 100,000 mark. Thanks for making this dream come true. My fiancé laughed. Cute how you get jealous when I see my ex. Guess you're not husband material, just a practice. I stayed silent. The next day, her stuff was boxed up and delivered to her ex's front door. Hey Reddit, I, 32 male, have been running commercial builds in Houston for 6 years. My fiancée Sienna, 31 female, works in pharmaceutical sales and has been living in my house for 3 years. Not renting, not on paperwork, just there, which mattered later. It started 6 weeks back. Tuesday night, maybe 10 p.m. I was on the couch, half watching some documentary about deep-sea creatures. She comes home from happy hour and I catch it, cologne. Men's cologne. Expensive, woody, the kind that costs $180 and lingers for hours. Not mine. I wear nothing but deodorant. Week 2, her phone behavior flipped completely. Used to leave her iPhone face up everywhere. Kitchen counter, nightstand, coffee table. Then suddenly face down. Always on Do Not Disturb. Changed her passcode too. Used to be 0815, her birthday. I noticed because she fumbled it one morning and had to try 3 times to get in with the new code. Little things that add up. Then the showers started. For 3 years, Sienna showered in the morning, like clockwork. 6:45 a.m. every single day. Then she starts showering the second she walks through the door. Every time she comes home late. Before taking off her shoes, before petting Murphy, before saying hello, straight to the bathroom. 15 minutes minimum. I'm not paranoid. I'm observant. There's a difference. Week 2, I started a spreadsheet. You track concrete pours and equipment schedules for a living, you can track a cheating fiancé. Logged every late night, every dinner with Kendra, every time she came home smelling wrong. Timestamps, notes, patterns. Patterns emerged fast. She was seeing him Tuesdays and Thursdays consistently. Weekends when I had site inspections, she'd suddenly have errands that took 4 hours. One Saturday, I was supposed to be at a job in Katy all day. Came home early because the inspector canceled. Her car was gone. She didn't get back until 6 p.m. Said she'd been at Target and the grocery store all afternoon. I checked the Target receipt she left on the counter that night. Time-stamped 5:34 p.m. 30 minutes of shopping doesn't take 4 hours. The other 3.5 hours went somewhere else. I started checking the mileage on her Lexus. She claimed she went to Kendra's place in Sugarland for dinner one Thursday. Kendra lives 18 miles from our house. Checked the odometer before she left and after she got back. Sienna's car showed 67 additional miles. Sugarland and back, 36 miles max. Where'd the extra 31 miles go? Week 3. I did something I'm not proud of, but won't apologize for either. She left her MacBook open while she took a bath. Bathroom door closed, music playing. Same Apple ID as her phone. Messages sync automatically unless you disable it. She hadn't disabled it. Found a thread labeled, Dr. Hammond, urgent. The contact photo was blank. No face, no name saved properly. The messages were definitely not about pharmaceutical orders. Miss what we had. Can't stop thinking about last weekend. When are you free again? She's asleep. Wish you were here instead. That last one was from her. Time-stamped 1:47 a.m. on a Saturday. I'd been in bed 2 feet away. Thought she was scrolling Instagram. I took 43 screenshots. Every message going back 4 months. Some from when we were actively shopping for wedding venues. Messages sent while she sat across from me at dinner, pretending to check work emails. One message stopped me cold. Can't wait until this is over and we can be together for real. His response, soon. Just play it cool until after the wedding. Then we'll have the payout. The payout. They were planning to marry me. Wait 6 months or a year. File for divorce and split assets. Texas is a community property state. My house, which I bought outright before we met, would potentially be on the table depending on how they played it. A long con with a white dress and open bar. I kept scrolling. Found a message from 3 weeks back where he'd sent his address. 1847 Oak Bend Trail, Unit 12. She'd replied with a heart emoji and on my way. I saved that one too. Checked Google Maps. Distance from our house to 1847 Oak Bend Trail, 15.4 miles. One way, round trip with a stop in Sugarland as cover. The mileage math worked out perfectly. Saved them all to an encrypted folder on my personal laptop. Cleared the search history on her MacBook. Closed the laptop exactly how she'd left it. Angled the same way. Same apps in the dock. From that moment, I was already gone. She just didn't know it yet. The next 3 weeks were pure reconnaissance. I started tracking patterns even more carefully. What nights she claimed to be with her work friend Kendra. What times she got home. I cross-referenced everything against Kendra's Facebook posts. Turned out Kendra was pretty active on social media. Half the night Sienna said they were at dinner, Kendra was posting from home with her kids. Photos time-stamped 7 p.m., 8 p.m., 9 p.m. Clearly not at any restaurant. The lies were sloppy. That's what bothered me most. She wasn't even trying hard. Like she assumed I was too stupid or too trusting to connect the dots. Or maybe she just didn't care anymore. Maybe she'd already mentally checked out and was just going through the motions until the wedding. Either way, I had my answer. So there I was, Thursday night, watching her in the TV reflection, running through my exit strategy one more time. I already knew she was cheating, had the evidence locked down, timeline documented, plan mapped out. I just needed one more thing before I executed. How was dinner with Kendra? I asked. Casual. Even. Totally normal question. She'd texted earlier saying she was grabbing sushi with her work friend. Same lie she'd used at least 8 times in the past month. She didn't look up from her phone. Good. Where'd you go? That place on Westheimer, near the Whole Foods. The lies came out smooth as glass. No hesitation, no tell. She'd been practicing this for months, probably longer than I even suspected. I wondered how many times she'd sat across from me, smiled, kissed me goodnight, all while planning her exit with someone else. Interesting, I said. Left it hanging there. Then I went for the throat. Weird, though. Kendra posted about an hour ago. She was at home making Halloween costumes with her daughters. Posted like 6 photos, time-stamped and everything. Looked pretty domestic. I watched her reflection in the TV. Caught that micro freeze, the split second before her brain kicked into damage control. Her thumb stopped scrolling. Her shoulders tensed slightly. Most people, when caught lying, will scramble, make excuses, try to explain, say they meant a different Kendra, or got the days mixed up. Sienna didn't. She just looked at me, slowly, deliberately, with this expression I'd never seen before. Cold, almost amused. Like a mask had slipped and I was finally seeing what lived underneath. So? She said. I wasn't with Kendra? The room went dead quiet. Murphy lifted his head from his dog bed, sensing the shift in energy. Who were you with? She smiled. Not a nice smile. The kind of smile people make when they're about to twist the knife and they want you to see them enjoying it. Garrett, my ex. She said it like she was reading a grocery list. We've been seeing each other again. Reconnecting. Getting back what we should have never lost. I said nothing. Just looked at her. What? She tilted her head, studying me like I was something under a microscope. You gonna cry? Throw a tantrum? Storm off like some emotional little boy? Still nothing. She laughed. That condescending rich girl laugh I'd heard her use on waiters and customer service reps. Oh my God, this is pathetic. You're really just going to sit there? No big dramatic reaction? I took a sip of my water, set it down carefully on the coaster, looked her straight in the eyes. She was waiting for something. Tears, anger, begging. The stuff she'd probably rehearsed responses to in her head. The playbook everyone follows when they get caught. Keep going, I said. I'm listening. That threw her off. She wanted fireworks. Instead, she got ice. Fine. She leaned forward, warming up now, really getting into her performance. You want the truth? Here it is. You're not husband material. You were never husband material. You're a project manager who thinks he's going somewhere. You drive a truck. You smell like sawdust half the time. You come home with concrete dust on your boots. A project manager, I corrected, making $140,000 a year, who owns his house outright. No mortgage. But continue. Her face flickered. That wasn't in her script. Whatever. The point is, you're practice, a placeholder, someone to keep the bed warm until something real came along. And guess what? It did. Garrett. Yes, Garrett. He's a financial advisor. He wears suits to work. He knows how to network at charity events without looking uncomfortable. He has a future. You have what? Blueprints and dirt under your fingernails? I nodded slowly. Interesting. How long? Does it matter? Humor me. She shrugged. 4 months. Ever since we ran into each other at that charity thing in River Oaks. The one you didn't want to go to because you had to be up early for a concrete pour. Remember? You made me go alone. The Children's Hospital fundraiser. Yeah, that one. We got talking at the bar. Remembered why we worked so well together in college. Started meeting up for coffee, then lunch, then other things. She laughed again. And honestly, it was so easy. You never suspected a thing. I'd tell you I was with Kendra, and you'd just believe me. Like a puppy. So trusting. I see. That's it? I see? She stood up, frustrated now. God, even now you're boring. You can't even fight back properly. This is exactly why Garrett and I work. He's passionate. He takes what he wants. You just accept things. I stood up too. Looked down at her. I've got 4 inches on her. You done? I what? Is there anything else you want to say? Any other speeches you've rehearsed? Because I've got things to do tomorrow. And if you're finished performing, I'd like to get some sleep. Her face went from triumphant to confused to angry in about 3 seconds. Performing? I'm telling you I've been sleeping with my ex for 4 months. And you're acting like I just told you I bought the wrong brand of coffee. Noted. Thanks for the honesty. Good night. I grabbed my pillow off the couch. Where are you going? To sleep. You can have the bedroom. I'll take the couch. That's it? You're not even going to fight for me? I stopped, turned around, looked at her one more time. Fight for you? Sienna, you just told me I'm practice. That you've been running around behind my back for 1/3 of a year. That I smell like sawdust and don't have a future. And you want me to fight for that? Nah, I'm good. Sleep well. She stood there sputtering as I stretched out on the couch. I could feel her staring at me, waiting for the explosion that wasn't coming. Your silence is frustrating me. The words hung in the air. I let them sit. Didn't defend myself. Didn't argue. She wanted a reaction. That's what this whole performance was, bait. She wanted me to scream, to beg, to break down so she could feel powerful, so she could tell herself she was the one ending things, that she was in control of the narrative. I gave her nothing. The second you give them the emotional response they're fishing for, you've handed them the ammunition. They get to be the victim. They get to tell everyone how crazy you acted. They get to justify everything they did because look how he reacted. She huffed, annoyed that I wouldn't play along. Whatever. She stood up, grabbed her phone. I'm going to bed. When you're ready to act like a man about this, let me know. She walked to the bedroom, slammed the door hard enough to rattle the framed Astros jersey on the wall. I just sat there, remote in one hand, phone in the other. Murphy came over and put his head on my knee. She'd admitted it, put it on record. That's all I needed. I grabbed my pillow, stretched out on the couch, and spent the night running through logistics, not sleeping, planning. By 4:30 a.m., I had the entire operation mapped out. Not the emotional revenge fantasy where you scream and destroy things and feel worse after. The cold kind, the surgical kind, the kind where you remove someone from your life so efficiently that by the time they realize what happened, it's already over. Her alarm went off at 6:30. I heard her moving around in the bedroom, shower running, hairdryer, closet doors, the normal routine like nothing had happened, like she hadn't just blown up 3 years in one conversation. She came out dressed for work, navy suit, heels, makeup, perfect. Hair straightened. She grabbed her purse from the kitchen counter, checked her reflection in the hallway mirror, adjusted her engagement ring, the one I'd dropped $4,200 on, after she casually mentioned she liked emerald cuts while we walked past a jewelry store. Then she walked right past me like I was furniture. Didn't say a word, didn't even make eye contact. Classic manipulation tactic, the silent treatment. Make me feel guilty for catching her. Make me chase her. Make me apologize for having the audacity to notice her affair. The front door opened, closed. Her heels clicked down the walkway. I waited 5 minutes. Enough time for her to get to her Lexus and be halfway to her office. Then I got to work. First call, my foreman Dante. Hey, I need the day. Family emergency. You good? Will be. Cover the Memorial City job? Done. Call if you need anything. Hung up. Next call. U-Haul on I-10. Had boxes delivered to my truck in 20 minutes. Started in the bathroom. Swept her entire counter into box 1. Face creams, serums, makeup palettes, hair products, that jade roller she bought after watching TikTok, the $80 shampoo she special ordered. All of it. Moved to the closet. Her side was organized by color. I packed it the same way. Kept everything neat. Folded the expensive pieces. Wrapped the shoes individually. Inside the nightstand drawer on her side, I found a moleskin notebook I'd never seen before. Underneath it, a cheap prepaid phone. A burner. I powered it on. 4 months of text to G confirming everything I'd already seen on the MacBook. Plus, hotel confirmations forwarded to this number. Receipts attached. She'd been thorough about hiding her tracks. Just not thorough enough. Flipped open the notebook. Wedding planning notes. Seating charts. Guest lists. Nothing unusual until page 43. A pros and cons list comparing me to Garrett. 2 columns. My column had things like stable income and good house and doesn't ask questions. Garrett's column had passion and chemistry and the one that got away. She'd drawn little hearts around his name, like a teenager with a crush, while wearing my ring. I photographed every page, added it to the evidence folder, packed the notebook and the burner phone right on top of the box. Let Evelyn find those first. 30 boxes total. 3 years of an engagement. Everything packed carefully, labeled, organized. I took photos of each box contents before sealing them. Documentation matters. Always has in my line of work. No one could say I threw her stuff in garbage bags or destroyed anything. Then I grabbed my laptop and did the most important part. Googled same-day courier Houston. Top result, roadie. Filled out the form. Pickup, my address. Delivery, 1847 Oak Bend Trail, Unit 12. Delivery contact, Sienna's cell. Special instructions, 30 boxes, handle with care. Confirm delivery with photo. Total, $340. Submitted. Then I ordered pizza. Domino's. Large meat lovers, extra cheese, jalapenos. The kind she always said was too greasy and made me feel bad for ordering. Doorbell rang 45 minutes later. 2 guys in roadie shirts. They loaded everything in 5 trips. Professional. Quick. They left. Then I walked back inside. The house was quiet. Really quiet. No diffuser humming lavender. No music from her Bluetooth speaker. Just peace. I checked the roadie tracking around 5:45 p.m. Status, delivered. Location, 1847 Oak Bend Trail, Unit 12. Photo confirmation showing 30 boxes stacked neatly on a covered patio. Front door half open in the frame, someone already accepting delivery. What I didn't know at the time was that Garrett wasn't living alone. He had a live-in girlfriend named Evelyn. Had been with her for 2 years, so Sienna's boxes didn't just show up at her ex's place. They showed up where he lived with his girlfriend of 2 years. 30 boxes containing love letters. Hotel receipts with Garrett's name on the reservation. The burner phone with 4 months of messages. A wedding binder with Garrett's name circled on the guest list, plus notes in Sienna's handwriting about what kind of scotch he liked and where to seat him at the reception. Murphy was in the backyard. I let him in, gave him some treats, and we watched the game together. Astros versus Rangers. Peace and quiet in my own house. My dog Murphy. I adopted him from Houston SPCA right after I bought the house. Chipped in my name. Vet bills on my card going back 4 years. Adoption paperwork in my email. This becomes extremely relevant. Around 7:30 p.m., my phone started blowing up. Missed calls from Sienna. Voicemails. Texts flooding in one after another. Where is everything? Answer your phone. This is insane. You can't just take all my things? Am calling the police? You're a psycho. Where did you put my stuff? I didn't respond. Just saved everything. Screenshots. timestamps. Then around 8:15 p.m., I heard a car pull into the driveway. Fast, door slamming hard, heels on concrete moving quick. She had a key. I'd forgotten about that. The front door flew open. Sienna stormed in looking completely unhinged. Mascara smeared down her cheeks. Hair half down from the ponytail. The polished pharmaceutical sales rep look was completely gone. She looked like she'd been crying for hours. "Where is everything?" she shouted. "What did you do?" I was sitting on the couch with Murphy, remote in hand. Didn't stand up. "Your belongings were professionally delivered to you this afternoon. 30 boxes, full insurance, photographic confirmation of safe arrival." "Delivered where?" 1847 Oak Bend Trail, Unit 12. Her face went white. "You sent my stuff to Garrett's? You said you were reconnecting. Figured you'd want your things close by." His girlfriend was home. She went through everything. There were love letters in those boxes. She found the burner phone. She knows everything now. Sounds like a personal problem. Her whole body tensed. I could see her processing it, running the math. Everything she'd hidden for 4 months. Every secret, every lie, every burner phone message, sitting in cardboard boxes in Evelyn's living room. The woman she didn't know existed until 5 minutes ago now had the full picture. She started pacing, wild energy, hands shaking. Then her eyes landed on Murphy, who was sitting next to me with his tail tucked, sensing the tension. "Fine, I'm taking the dog." She walked toward him, grabbed his leash from the hook by the door where it always hung, clipped it to his collar before I could even process what was happening. Murphy looked confused, tail half wagging because she'd been part of his life for 3 years and he didn't understand what was happening. She grabbed his travel crate from the hallway closet, started toward the door with both, dragging Murphy behind her. "Put the leash down!" She kept moving, yanking Murphy toward the front door. He was resisting now, confused, looking back at me. Dogs know when something's wrong. I stood up, positioned myself between her and the exit, not touching her, just standing there, blocking the doorway. "Put the leash down. He's my dog too. I've been taking care of him for 3 years. I'm the one who walks him when you're at work. He's chipped in my name. Vet bills on my card. SPCA adoption paperwork has my signature. He stays." She tried to push past me. I didn't move. She yanked Murphy's leash hard, trying to pull him toward the door. He whimpered. "Get out of my way, Sienna. Let go of the leash." She stepped backward, still pulling. Murphy was digging in now, all 4 paws braced against the hardwood, not wanting to go with her. She took another step back toward the stairs that led down to the foyer, 3 steps down to the landing. Then she lost her footing. I watched it happen in slow motion. Her heel caught on the lip of the top step. She stumbled backward, arms windmilling, reaching for something to grab. The leash flew out of her hand as she went down. She tumbled down 3 stairs. Not the whole flight, just 3. Landed on her back on the landing with a thud. I didn't touch her. Not once. Didn't reach out. Didn't grab. The cameras got all of it. She lay there for a second, breathing hard. Then she sat up, looked at me, and her entire expression changed. "He pushed me." She said it loud, clear, like she was performing for an audience that wasn't there. "You pushed me down the stairs." I didn't say anything, just looked at her. She grabbed the hoodie that was draped over the railing, a gray one she'd left there weeks ago, and pressed it against her forehead. There was no blood, maybe a small bump from where she'd hit the wall on the way down, but she was holding that hoodie against her head like she was trying to stop arterial bleeding, pressing hard, making a face like she was in serious pain. "You're going to jail for this," she said. "Domestic violence, assault. You're done." She pulled out her phone, dialed 911, put it on speaker so I could hear everything. 911? What's your emergency? My fiancé just pushed me down the stairs. I'm bleeding from my head. I need help. This is domestic violence. Please send someone." She gave them the address, the whole time pressing that hoodie to her head like it was a battlefield triage situation. Real tears streaming now, voice shaking perfectly. When she hung up, she looked at me with this smug expression, like she'd just won the whole game. I pulled out my own phone, called 911. "Hi, there's been an accident at my residence. A woman fell down some stairs. She may have hit her head. I'd like to request an ambulance to check her out." Sienna's face flickered. She wasn't expecting me to call for help too. Wasn't expecting me to sound calm. "What are you doing?" she hissed. "Making sure you get checked out. Head injuries can be serious." While we waited, she kept up the performance, started breathing heavily, put her hand on her chest, moaning softly. Then, when she realized I wasn't panicking, wasn't scrambling, wasn't begging, something shifted. Quick background on the house setup. About 2 years ago, after some tools got lifted from one of my job sites, I got paranoid about security. Insurance adjuster said my premiums would drop if I had cameras, so I installed a Ring system. Doorbell cam. 2 interior cameras in the living room and kitchen, one in the garage. The living room camera had a clear view of the stairs leading down to the foyer. Never thought twice about them after installation. They just ran in the background, uploading to the cloud, motion-activated recordings stored for 30 days. Peace of mind I forgot I had until I needed. And that's what she didn't think of. Her eyes went unfocused. Her breathing got shallow and fast. And then she just kind of crumpled, slid down against the wall, eyes closed, limp, adrenaline dump, panic attack. Or the performance was escalating because the first act wasn't getting the reaction she wanted. Either way, she was on the floor now, making it look like she'd passed out. I stood at the top of the stairs, watched from a distance, didn't approach, didn't touch her. Murphy was beside me, whimpering, confused. Cops showed up first. 2 officers. They came in already tense, hands near their belts. Domestic call. They treat those serious. They're trained to. One officer went immediately to Sienna, who had miraculously regained consciousness and was now crying softly while still pressing the hoodie to her completely uninjured forehead. The other officer approached me. "Sir, I need you to step outside with me." "Happy to. But first, I need to tell you something. I have interior cameras, ring system plus 2 indoor cams. Everything that happened in this house tonight is recorded and backed up to the cloud, including her falling by herself while trying to take my dog." The officer's expression changed slightly. "You have footage? Living room camera covers the stairs. Got everything. I can pull it up right now on my phone. They separated us. Standard procedure." EMTs arrived a few minutes later. They checked Sienna's head thoroughly. No laceration. No concussion symptoms. Pupils equal and reactive. Minor bump. Probably wouldn't even bruise. She refused transport to the hospital. The officers huddled together outside for a minute, talking low. Then the senior one came back to me. "You said you have footage. Can we see it?" I pulled it up on my phone, opened the Ring app, pulled up the recording from the living room camera, time-stamped 20 minutes earlier, handed it over. The video was crystal clear. Her grabbing the dog leash, clipping it on, me blocking the door, her stepping backward while yanking the leash, her heel catching on the step, her falling down 3 stairs entirely on her own. No contact whatsoever. My hands never touched her. Then her sitting up and immediately saying, "He pushed me." The officer watched it twice, then showed it to his partner. They replayed the fall 3 times. The younger officer let out a low whistle and shook his head. Didn't say anything. Didn't have to. "Sir, do you have documentation of dog ownership?" I pulled up the SPCA adoption paperwork on my email. The microchip registration from home again, showing my name and address. 4 years of vet bills from Banfield Pet Hospital, all on my credit card. Screenshot after screenshot. She doesn't live here? She was a guest. No lease agreement. Not on any utilities. Not on the deed. My real estate attorney confirmed she has no legal occupancy claim. I delivered all her belongings this afternoon via licensed courier. They went back to Sienna. I couldn't hear the full conversation, but I could see her face through the window. Watched it go from tearful victim to confused to angry to scared in about 30 seconds. One of the officers came back to me. "Sir, we're not going to pursue any charges against you. The footage clearly shows she fell on her own. There was no contact. We've advised her that filing a false police report is a crime in Texas, and that attempting to take your registered property, including the dog, could result in charges against her." I nodded. "Appreciate it. We're going to ask her to leave the premises. Do you want us to stay while she gathers any remaining personal items?" Everything of hers was already delivered to another address this afternoon. 30 boxes. She doesn't have anything here anymore. Sienna was escorted out by the officers. No cuffs. Just a firm suggestion that she leave immediately and not return without law enforcement present. She stopped at the doorway, looked at me with pure hatred. Makeup completely ruined now. Hair a mess. The hoodie still clutched in her hand. I looked back. Then I reached into my pocket and pulled out her engagement ring. I'd noticed it on the landing after she fell. Must have slipped off when she hit the floor. Picked it up while the officers were talking to her outside. I held it up so she could see it. The emerald cut catching the porch light. Didn't say anything dramatic, just put it back in my pocket. Her face crumbled. "We're done," I said. The officers walked her to her car. I watched from the doorway until she drove off. Waited until her taillights disappeared around the corner. Then I closed the door. Locked it. Deadbolt and chain. Murphy came running up, tail wagging now that the tension was gone. I scratched behind his ears. "Good boy. Not going anywhere, buddy." The house was quiet. Finally quiet. The fallout happened fast, but I stayed out of most of it. From what I pieced together through mutual friends, Garrett's girlfriend Evelyn had gone through all 30 boxes that afternoon, found the love letters, Handwritten ones from Sienna, talking about their future together. Found the hotel receipts with Garrett's name on the reservations for rooms booked on Tuesday and Thursday afternoons. Found the burner phone with 4 months of messages planning their reunion. Their 2-year relationship ended that night. Evelyn apparently posted everything on Facebook before blocking Garrett. Screenshots of the messages, photos of the receipts, a detailed timeline of the affair, tagged both of them. Their entire social circle saw it before either of them could do damage control. Mutual friends started picking sides. Most of them picked Evelyn. Evelyn had called Garrett screaming while he was still at work. He came home to find his stuff being thrown into boxes. Neighbors heard everything. Someone in the complex called the apartment office about the noise. But here's where it gets interesting. Garrett panicked, tried to do damage control, reached out to Sienna saying they needed to cool things off until everything blew over. Said it was too hot right now, and they should lay low for a few months. Sienna, who had just been publicly humiliated and escorted out of my house by police officers after trying to fake an assault, did not take that well. She started texting him constantly, calling at all hours, showing up at his apartment building. Garrett's response? He blocked her number, changed his locks, told the front desk not to let her up. The guy who was planning to run a divorce scam with her, who she'd burned her engagement for, who she'd called her real future, just ghosted her the second things got complicated. I found out through mutual friends that Garrett and Evelyn actually got back together about a month later. Evelyn took him back. Don't ask me why. They moved to Austin together shortly after. Fresh start away from the mess. Sienna ended up back at her mom's house in Katy. Lost her apartment deposit because she couldn't afford it on her own. Had to explain to her entire family why her engagement ended and why 30 boxes of her belongings had been delivered to her affair partner's apartment. I didn't pursue any lawsuits. Didn't need to. The natural consequences were brutal enough. Sold the engagement ring 2 weeks later. Jeweler in the Heights gave me $2,800 for it. Less than I paid, but more than it was worth to me sitting in a drawer. Put the money toward a new grill for the backyard. Murphy approved. Last I heard from the friend group, she was working retail at some department store in the Galleria. Entry level, commission-based, starting over at 31 with a gap on her resume. She couldn't explain honestly. 6 months of peace. Murphy and I settled into a routine. Morning runs before work. Evening walks around the neighborhood. Weekends at the dog park. I took on a new project at work. 12-story mixed-use building downtown. Good money, good distraction. Kept me busy enough that I didn't think about her much. Changed the locks 3 days after she left. Got a new security code for the garage. Updated the Ring app with different passwords. Standard post-breakup security protocol. The locksmith who came out had clearly seen this before. Didn't ask questions. Just did the job. Then one Saturday afternoon, doorbell rang. I checked the Ring app first. Habit now after everything that happened. Sienna, standing on my porch, looking rough, thinner than before. Dark circles under her eyes. Hair pulled back in a messy ponytail instead of the perfect blowout she used to maintain. No makeup. Completely different from the polished woman who used to live here. I considered not answering, but curiosity won. Opened the door. Didn't step outside. Didn't invite her in. Murphy was behind me, tail not wagging this time. Dogs remember. Hey, she said, voice small. Can we talk? About what? I wanted to apologize. For everything. I made so many mistakes. I was confused. I was stupid. Garrett was a mistake and I knew it the whole time, but I just got caught up in something and I didn't know how to stop it. I didn't say anything. I lost my job. Had to move back in with my mom. My car got repossessed because I couldn't make the payments. Garrett won't even talk to me anymore. He's with Evelyn now. They're engaged. Did you know that? He's marrying her. She waited for a reaction. Sympathy, maybe. Some sign that I cared about her suffering. I've been thinking about us a lot. About what we had before I messed it all up. We were good together, weren't we? Before everything, we could try again. I've changed so much. I've learned so much about myself through all of this. She reached out like she was going to touch my arm. I stepped back. Sienna, you called me practice. A placeholder. You planned to divorce me for a payout with a guy who ghosted you. You tried to steal my dog. You faked a fall down my stairs and told the police I pushed you. You looked me in the eye while doing all of it. I know. I was horrible. A horrible person. But people change. People deserve second chances. Haven't you ever made a mistake? I looked at her for a long moment. She had this desperate hope in her eyes. The look of someone who's run out of options and is trying to backtrack to the last safe place they remember. No. What? No. You don't get a second chance. Not here. Not with me. But I said I was sorry. I admitted everything. I'm taking full responsibility. What else do you want me to do? Nothing. That's the point. There's nothing you can do. You made choices every single day for 4 months. These are the consequences. I'm not your backup plan. I was never your backup plan. I was just convenient until something better came along. Her face crumbled. Tears started. Real ones this time, I think. Hard to tell with her. Please, I have nowhere else to go. I can't do this alone. My mom is driving me crazy. I have no money. No job. No future. Everything fell apart. You should have thought about that before you burned everything down for a guy who ghosted you the second things got hard. I stepped back, grabbed the door. Don't come back here. Don't call me. Don't text me. Don't show up at my job. We're done. We've been done for 6 months. I closed the door in her face, locked it. Through the window, I watched her stand there on my porch for a full minute, just staring at the door. Then she turned and walked back to her car. Some old Honda Civic now? Probably borrowed from her mom. Not the Lexus. She drove away. Murphy pressed against my leg. I scratched behind his ears. The house was quiet. My house, my dog, my life. Guys, we are so close to hit 100,000 subscribers on this channel. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. It really helps hit that 100,000 mark. Thanks for making this dream come true.